Hello guys. My name is Asif, and I welcome you all on behalf of Royal Cyber in this webinar today. And we'll just wait for a few minutes, and we'll then, kick off this webinar. We'll let other people to join. All right, guys. So let's start this webinar. And today in today's webinar, we are going to talk about on-demand sandbox dashboard. It's one of the solutions. It's one of the applications which we have developed at Royal Cyber. And using this application, you can manage and maintain your sandboxes with just few clicks instead of commands. And this is what exactly we are going to walk you through in today's webinar as part of the presentation and as well as demo, a real-time demo of this application. So today joining me, there are a couple of co-speakers who would be helping me out. And there's one name which is you guys all will be very familiar with, Jorge Hernandez. Jorge is a director, Cloud Solution Alliance Commerce at Salesforce. Anyone who is part of Salesforce Partner Portal, Commerce Cloud Partner Portal, Cheddar groups, they must be familiar with Jorge. It's a privilege and honor to for us to have Jorge, as part of this webinar. I lead Salesforce practice at Royal Cyber. I've been with Royal Cyber for the last 14 years, working on different e-commerce platforms, starting with IBM, and I've been taking care of Salesforce practice for almost last couple of years. I have Usman with me. Usman is our senior Salesforce technical architect with a extensive and a huge experience at the back of multiple various implementations on Salesforce Commerce Cloud.
Thank you, Asif. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for reaching out to me and to the Cloud Solution Alliances team and proposing that not only proposing that you have a tool, but proposing to host a webinar of this type. I'm very excited that our partners are innovating and creating tools that help all of us, right? And the fact that Royal Cyber and the team have created this tool and offer it for free to customers and partners for a year is something that excites me. We are a community, and this is part of that community effect. So this is not my show. I'm just going to say hi. Thank you everyone for coming. This is being recorded, which is great. We will post it in the B2C Commerce Chatter group, maybe even in the CCDC if the powers that be let me put it up there. And without further ado, Asif, take it away. This is your show, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jorge. And thank you for giving us this opportunity to present this in front of the partners, customers, and the whole Salesforce community. So all right, guys, so we are going to start this with Royal Cyber introduction, who we are, what we do, what kind of services we offer, what is what our Salesforce practices. Then we'll go on this on-demand sandbox model which Salesforce introduced last year. So we have divided this webinar into basically two portions. In the starting 15-20 minutes, I'll go over a few slides in which we'll walk you through the existing ODS model. Then we'll move towards our solution, this on-demand sandbox dashboard solutions. What actually pushed us or forced us to come up with this idea to develop this kind of application. In the last portion, in the second portion of this webinar, I'll give it to Usman, and Usman is going to walk us through real time, of this application. He's going to give us the demo of each and every feature which is currently available as part of this application. For the question answers, I know there'll be a lot coming, so I would like you to please, put your questions in the chat, and we have a moderator who's looking towards your questions, and we'll try to answer your questions at the end of this webinar. And yeah, during the presentation and the demo, there would be a lot of questions which you may get your answers. So all right, so let's start this one. So Royal Cyber is in the e-commerce industry for last almost 18 years, 19 years. I joined this company almost 14 years back. It was a kind of a small office back offshore, and now when I see it, there are 1,000+ resources dispersed around the globe. We have offices in different locations, almost in 9 different countries, 11 offices. We have our head office in Chicago. We have our major branch office here in Canada, where I'm based out of. Our offshore development engine lies completely in India and Pakistan, where more than 500-600 people working. Most of our resources are completely certified resources in their special and specific domains, the skill set which they carry. If somebody is not certified, we get that resource certified, and that certification is being reimbursed by Royal Cyber. So this is how our model works, our delivery model works. We provide end-to-end services with onshore, offshore, and a hybrid model, where we provide service, resources mixed from our onshore and offshore locations. So Royal Cyber is a one-stop shop. We call it always as a one-stop shop, because whenever customer engages with us, whenever customer connects with us with any concerns within any capacity, any billable project, any migrations, new from the scratch implementation, we have the relevant services, the integrated services which are required or which are part and parcel of each project available for that customer as well. Customer doesn't have to go to any other vendor in terms of if they're looking for middleware services or DevOps services which are required as to complete that particular project, whether it's blockchain, mobile, RPA, integrations with third parties, MuleSoft, Dell, Boomi, you name it, and we have specialized people of that particular skill set available to support that project. So that's why we call a kind of a one-stop shop. You get everything under the umbrella of Royal Cyber. All right, so now let's talk about a bit on the on-demand sandbox model, which actually Salesforce launched last year, I believe. And the way it was announced, that there were certain credits which were assigned to the customers and the partners to consumed at the annual basis, and then if any customer or partner goes beyond those credits, then they would be charged according to the contract, the rules which are there as part of the contract. Now the difference which it made was when we talk about the sandboxes which Salesforce used to give early before ODS, we used to have to create a case, and then It took a day or two to get that sandbox available for the developer to start, to start using that sandbox. Now here, Salesforce has given more control in terms of the ODS to the developers, to the partners, to the customers, to their infrastructures team, to their DevOps teams, to their operations teams to create their sandboxes, as many as they want, as long as they are under the credits. And even if they go beyond the credits, you can still create a sandbox based on your business needs. And it's a very quick process. You can create sandbox within few minutes and have it available for your developers. Now, one thing which we need to keep in mind that ODS are not available for partners outside B2C commerce partnership. So it's only available for the partners or the customers who have Salesforce B2C Commerce Cloud. And these on-demand sandbox are hosted on public cloud-based sandbox. That I'll show you in the few slides how they are they are public cloud when we call them as a public cloud-based sandboxes. And when you use on-demand sandbox, you can expand your sandbox usage when required and roll back using. You can stop your sandbox at your own will. You can suspend, delete your sandbox at their own will. Based on the needs of your development project or any other business needs. So in the existing model, there are two tools available. There are two administration tools available, which are being used by the developers or the admins to create or to manage the sandboxes. Now, out of these two, the most extensively used tool right now is the Swagger based tool, which is based on the REST API. This Swagger UI portal, this Swagger UI application or tool, is currently being used by most of the customers or the partners. It requires you to have the Sandbox API user role and the client API key, client ID or the API key to log in. And once you are logged in, then you should be you should have some kind of a technical expertise or a technical background to execute those commands, to create, update, delete sandboxes, to see your credits, to perform all those operations. So these are the two existing administration tools. Now let's come to the challenges. What are the challenges which a user comes across when they use a Swagger tool? Now, the biggest challenge, or I would say the hurdle which we see from which actually also pushed us to come up with this idea to create this kind of a ODS dashboard was it lets only your technical people or administrators to use this Swagger API portal, where you have to execute those commands. Now, let's say, for example, if there's a head of IT or a director IT or a director operations, if they want to see the consumes credit, let's say in last 6 months, they won't ideally go and in the Swagger portal and start executing those commands. So to give the visibility to the top managers, to the people who are managing your overall infrastructure, if they are interested, and they would be interested in seeing because of this credits model which Salesforce introduced, they would like to see the number of credits being consumed, how many sandbox are being created in the last quarter. So these kind of challenges for the top managers, for the top heads, or for the people who are not that technical, uh, we this kind of thing which pushed us to come up with this kind of model, this kind of dashboard. So this is one of the challenges. Then again, at the lower level, at the Swagger level, if you want to see the aggregate and individually consumed sandbox credits per minute, that is again, you will again have to go and look for the commands, proper commands, and the risk is that if somebody who is not that technical or don't have this required skill set, they can mess this up by running or executing the wrong commands. So and then again, if you want to see how many sandboxes have remained idle in last, let's say, 1 week, they've never been used but they're still up. So again, this is a kind of a, these are the kind of commands which you need to look at when you go into the Swagger. They are not available right away on the first go when you see the screen of the Swagger. So these kind of challenges, we wanted to address when we have this idea of creating a kind of a dashboard which gives a user a single view where they can perform all these operations just using the button clicks, instead of going over these commands and looking for these commands and then execute these commands. All right, so now let's talk about the on-demand sandbox dashboard model, dashboard features, which, this is the dashboard which we have created, and what kind of features it brings up, on the table. So this is the look and feel. This is the front end. This is the kind of a interface which we have given to this application. When Usman would walk you through, you will see some more details of this dashboard. The features one by one. So I'll try to go over these features quickly, and then I'll give it to Usman, to go over the demo. So all right, so you can create sandboxes by choosing any one of the available storage limits. Now, this is another new concept which Salesforce has introduced, and now this would become the part of the contracts, and I believe this has already become the part of the contracts. When you create a sandbox, you are being asked to select these profiles, either medium, large, or extra large profiles. And these medium, large, and extra large profiles differs based on their consumption limits, their credits. Let's say, for example, if you're creating a sandbox with the extra large profile, then your 1 minute uptime is equal to 4 credits consumption. So if your sandbox is being created on the extra large profile, based on the extra large profile, then, and if it remains up for 1 minute, then it will consume 4 of your credits, 4 of your credits from your annual credit limits. Downtime, 1 minute downtime is equal to 0.3 credits for all of these profiles. But this profile differs in terms of the uptime. So large profile would consume 2 credits per minute, and medium profile would consume 1 credit per minute uptime. So similarly, you can create sandbox using clicks while selecting TTL, sandbox profiles, and ability to add that sandbox to a global scheduler. So when you create a sandbox, there's a feature available given out of the box by Salesforce in the Swagger tool as well. So what we have done, actually, we have made that feature available in the form of a checkbox and a input field where you can provide the TTL in hours, that how long you want that sandbox to be available, and there's a checkbox if you want to make that sandbox to be the part of that global scheduler which works at the realm level. You can keep track of active, idle, and suspended sandboxes. You can view it in a screen on a one go. You don't have to go and execute the commands to see how many sandboxes are active or idle or suspended state. View your aggregated consumed credits. You can using this dashboard, you can see the aggregated consumed credits at the realm level as well as at the individual sandbox level. So you go and in the portal, in the dashboard, here at the top, you can see the number of credits which are being consumed for all these sandboxes. And once you click on each of these sandbox, you will see the details. In those details, you will be able to see the credits which are being consumed at the individual sandbox level. You can see the IP addresses of the, for YAM to create aliases, the inbound and outbound public IP addresses, so that if you want to make any aliases against your sandbox, you can use those IPs and have them available in your host file to make them work. You can see the status of the sandboxes: start, stop, edit, delete, restart. All these operations are just a matter of clicks now using this dashboard portal. You can also search for your sandboxes. That is something Usman would show as part of the demo. So you can search, look for your sandboxes. Let's say you have 100. There are companies who have multiple realms with more than 100 sandboxes. Now you want to look for a particular sandbox. You can search that sandbox either with the ID, with the creator name, with multiple fields, search filter available, through which you can search those sandboxes. You can see the.
If I may ask a question. Hi.
All right, please.
So if I have some boxes in multiple realms, the tool only lets me see one realm at a time, correct?
That is correct. One RAM at a time. Yeah. So, so what we have here is, if you see here, we have a drop down which says RAM ID. So you select the RAM ID, and corresponding to RAM ID, you can see the number of sandboxes which are being created under this and this, this RAM. Uh, you can, if let's say we do have a customer, we have just taken them on board and they have multiple RAMs, and we believe, because being a partner, we just have one RAM, so we have tested this application, this tool, on based on one RAM, but we believe the way we have made our code, it will work on the multiple RAMs as well. Jorge, I
Okay,
hope I answer your question.
right. So I'd be able to open multiple instances of this application to check my different realms, right? Could
That,
have two or
or
three.
Yes,
yes,
yes, George, you can do that as well. And collectively, great that you can see over here. This will show you the collective instances that are active in all your realms that are assigned to you, right? So, in a sense, you will get the aggregated view of all the active instances in all the realms, as well as you have the option to create specific sandboxes or edit in a particular realm as well. So that won't be an issue. You don't have to open different windows for that.
I just wanted to bring up, by default, the Swagger tool, when a realm is created, no Swagger tool, let me go back. By default, when you're granted a realm as a partner, you get 50 sandboxes maximum
Yes,
that you can
yes,
create. So that's the default, 50.
correct, correct.
You can request via a ticket, you can request via support ticket or via John Sao. You can request to have John Sao, meaning my counterpart in in Salesforce, who works, you probably, John might not be on the call yet, but he might come in later. He works on the ODS charter group, and he's the one that lets you know when there is an outage. You can request, if for a reason you need a realm that has to have a bigger limit, like 100 sandboxes, then that's the limit. Remember, you still got the same number of credits as a partner. Your credits don't increase. You're just asking for more sandboxes, which basically means more management or
That's
oversight that
true.
you have to do.
That's true. True.
Please continue.
All right. Thank you, Jorge. All right, so these are the features, and as it's a there are different other features where you maybe you want to sort and search your sandboxes. We have given this feature as well in the dashboard, where you can click on the columns and you can sort your sandboxes or ODS instances based on that particular column. Single click operation and execution. You can control number of ODS instances displayed on a single page. So we have added pagination as well. View and update global schedule configuration and RAM level. So you see the number of sandboxes which are scheduled, at the global RAM level. So this is what Usman will be walking you through. I won't go in these features, as Usman will cover them as part of the demo. I'll come on this portion now, which is the cost and how we can take customer or any partner, any SI on board with this, who wants to use this application or use this tool. So it's a very simple process. Now, this is something which is very interesting, that the cost right now for this particular application is free. It's completely free. The subscription is completely free, and the support is also completely free for 1 year. So let's say you start using this from 1st of July 2021, you will have it available completely free till 30th June 2022. Uh, during this time, if you come across any bugs, any issues, any requirements which you have, you want to, you want us to customize it or to fix that particular bug, we will do it completely free for this, for this application for next 1 year. Uh, we do have some premium or exclusive features in our mind, which we are, which will release, during this year. And those exclusive feature will still remain available as free for the 1 year time. Once this 1 year time is passed, is complete, then there will be a very minimal subscription charges for this particular application, only for the exclusive features. for the premium features. The core features, the basic features, start, stop, sandbox, all these features which I've just walked you through, they will remain free. But yes, there will be some premium features which we are working on, which are not actually the part of existing Swagger Swagger API tool. They are not there in the Swagger, but we are doing it, developing them as a custom features, as the custom components on top of this application. Those premium features will have some minimal, subscription charges. But for now, this is complete. This application is completely free for next 1 year time. Anyone, irrespective of a customer or a partner, we are giving it as free. Now, how to start using this application? It's a 3-step process. It's a very simple process. There's a registration form here available. We'll share all these details after this webinar. You can fill out the registration form there, or if you want, you can connect us over the email, which is also here available. This is the basic requirement. Then you make sure that you have the account manager role access at the the Salesforce Commerce Cloud realm level, at the instance level, and then you connect. Once we'll receive this information from your side, we'll have a call with you. It would be a maximum of 30 minutes call, and we'll take your users on board, for this application. There are some prerequisites which lies at the Salesforce Commerce Cloud side. So and they are very similar to if your existing user is able to use Swagger API tool, they with the same access level details, they would be able to access this this our ODS dashboard as well. They should have the Sandbox API user role, which is there, for accessing the Swagger API interface as well. So it's same for our dashboard. Then there are very few minor changes which will be helping you out in making those changes. As part of that 30 minutes call, which I said. There's a redirection URL which you are supposed to add. There's an access token format which we need to change, and that's it. These are very minor changes which you will do, and you are all good to go with this tool. So you see the comparison.
Asif, please go back to the previous slide.
Yes, sorry.
Just go back one slide. I have pretty picky eyes here. That redirect URL, getting technical there, is that open auth redirect handler or auth redict handler? Just want to make sure that because this is part of the setup, so you have a specific URL to redirect people to, correct?
Right.
And is that spelled correctly there, or is just got cut off when you did the copy paste?
So Usman, do you want to take this?
I guess it's a grammatical error.
Okay.
This is just a redirection URL that the user will go once he is authenticated.
Okay, yeah, just wanted to make sure. Yeah, it just my eyes pick stuff like that. Sorry, guys. So
thank you for bringing this up, Jorge.
So this wouldn't go to the normal, 8080 localhost 8080 port. This will take you to a specific redirect in your end. Okay.
That's true. And it's a completely secure portal. In terms of the authentication and the security mechanism which we are applying here, it's the same as what Swagger uses. We are not doing anything additional on top of it. It's what the multi-factor authentication which is being used by Swagger. We use the similar way, and this is something which you will show once Usman will take over the demo. You use the same API client key. You want to use your existing one, or you want to create your new one, you can do so. And you see the comparison between these two ways of logging. This is on the left hand side. You see the Swagger tool through which you provide your API key, client ID, you authorize, you get the authentication done, and you are get into the Swagger inside the Swagger API tool. Same we are using here in this ODS dashboard. You provide your API key, client ID, and you get authorized similar way, same authorization mechanism at the back end, and you are good to go inside the Royal Sabre ODS dashboard.
All right, so you do get a prompt to do two-factor authentication on
100%, yes.
On your phone or whatever application you're using.
Yes, okay. Yes. All right, guys. So I'm now going to give it to Usman, and Usman, I would like you to please walk us through the demo.
Sure, Asif. Let me see. Okay, just a second. All right. So I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yep, we see it.
All right. So just as Asif told, that you are going to need a client ID in order to authorize this application. So what I'll do is I'll use my existing API key, and just like Swagger, it will take me to a page for the authentication. So once you are authorized, before that, as I have enabled the multi-factor authentication, that is, I guess, by the default for every on-demand sandbox now, it will ask you for the authentication. And once I approve this, it will take you to the dashboard. So that is how simple it is to use it. So just like Swagger. So once you are authenticated, you'll come back to this page that we set in the API configurations. Put it somewhere else. Okay. So here on the top, you are able to see the number of sandboxes that are started in the started state or the start state right now. And then you can see the number of stopped sandboxes and then the total number of active instances that we have. So if in case of multiple realms, you will see all the sandboxes over here as well. You can just filter them by realm ID or by any field in the columns, these columns. So the all these columns are searchable, right? So it is very easy for you, even if you have multiple realms, to just identify the sandboxes that are in that realm. So other than that, you are able to sort these columns, right? For example, by instance number or by date of and the creator, and the most important, by status, right? So it is very easily to judge which of the sandboxes are in started state and if you need to take any action against that, right? So this
Usman,
is
let
yeah.
me ask questions there just to make sure everybody's crystal clear.
Okay.
Customers and partners get one round, right? Every customer gets a
Yes.
round, partners get
Yes.
one round. It's very
Mhm.
rare that a partner has
Mhm.
to run, extremely rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. Yeah.
Now,
So
if I am a partner and I happen to also be an administrator for a customer because they give me that authorization, right? I will
yes.
still have to re-authorize with a different client ID. I cannot use my client ID for multiple,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Just wanted to make it clear to everybody. So the security process, you will have to start from, I don't know where you start, like when you change the realm here, you will not automatically, voila. Like, what is the experience if I was to go look at a customer realm that I happen to be managing? Do I have to start from the beginning of the application? Do I open a different application? How does that work?
So you can use a different tab and start with a different application window as well. Till now, as Asif told you, that we didn't have the multiple realms, but with one of the customer, we were able to see sandboxes from multiple realms over here, right, against this API key, because uh, they had authorization over them.
Yeah, usually an API key is per realm. So
Yeah.
yeah, so what it's called an client API or a client ID
Exactly.
specific
Yeah.
to one realm, but it's part of the security model, right? So you will have to have access to that realm. And
Exactly.
okay, thanks for clarifying that, right? So it's not as simple as just switching realms here and be able
Yes.
to
Yes.
see that.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank
So other than that, uh, we can let's move to the operations that we can perform over here. So I'll start with the edit sandbox option. Suppose you have already created a sandbox, right? And you just want to change the time to live for the sandbox. You need it for a little more hours, right? So you can simply change the time over here, the number of hours, and you can even put it in the global scheduler that is available, that we are going to discuss later. So you can do update this sandbox over here. Just a second. So other than that, you can start any stop sandbox. For example, I can start this sandbox right away just by the clicks, instead of that tedious Swagger operation, right? So as soon as this sandbox goes into the starting state, right? So it will show you there. So as you can see, the status has been updated into the starting state. So once the sandbox is start, one can easily go there and use it. Then we have the other commands such as stop, restart, reset, and delete. Obviously, I won't delete any one of theirs. So, and then you can see the details for this sandbox as well. So the good interesting thing is that in the Swagger API, you have to do lots of stuff to get this aggregated information about a typical sandbox or a particular sandbox. But right here, what you can see over here is you have the date range, where you can select the number of total number of credits that were consumed within these date ranges. Then you can see the total disk storage and that was allowed to this sandbox. You remember the profiles that were given, so each profile has specific storage limit, and out of that storage they have used this much storage. Out of the current sandbox has used this much storage. Again, you can see the history, past history of this sandbox over here. What were the operations that were done? When did they start, and when did it end, and how many minutes it consumed from that date range, right? So you can change the date ranges from here as well. So for example, let's change it over here. You see the number of credits have been updated, and detailed history of the start and stop of that sandbox. So how many time it started and stopped, and how many minutes it consumed between that time period. Also, it tells you that at that time that the resource profile of that sandbox was the medium sandbox. So using that formula, we can easily calculate these credits consumed that is available over here. After that, you can see the important links to this sandbox, right? So you can just copy and share this with your developers in order to get them started quickly. So going back to the dashboard.
So Usman, I'm going to ask the questions. I don't know. Are you guys seeing questions in the questions panel? I tried to type a question, but I wasn't able to, so I put it on the chat.
Okay.
You guys have any questions so far? I don't want to be the only pestering person here. Because I do have two questions, Usman, since we're there on the details of the sandboxes. Can I change the time to live once the sandbox has been started? Let's say I started my sandbox with
Yes.
time to live 0 forever, and now I decide, oops, I'm spending way too many credits with this time to live. Can I change the time to live to like 2 weeks?
Yes, we can do that. As I told earlier, we can when we are editing this sandbox, right? So you can set the new number of the new time that you want, right? Earlier, if it was 200 or 20, you can make it 30 hours, right? And then, for example, you can also put it inside a schedule or not. So for example, I'm updating this, right? So now the time to live has been updated to 1 hour, which exceeds the TTL of 256 hours, right? So if there is any problem, it will show right away. If you are giving any invalid values, it will be there.
Okay. And what was the other question? I cannot change the size. Can I change the size if I have a medium sandbox and I decide to make it bigger?
No, you cannot. No, for now, I don't see a command or API method available for that in the Swagger API.
Right. And just so everybody's clear, I'm asking these questions because I don't see the people asking questions. So I just want to make sure things that come to mind are asked. Royal Cyber is not inventing a new API. This is just using the same old SFCC-CI API, or whatever Swagger offers. Remember, Swagger and SFTC CI API don't exactly offer the same functionality, so they're taking the functionality from both sides.
Yes. So as I told you earlier, when you even if it was not scheduled earlier, you can just schedule it later or add this sandbox to the schedule later by just using this edit command over here.
Right.
Okay.
Did you show the schedule? Do you show the schedule for your CCKC realm anywhere?
Yes. So I was coming towards that. If you go a little below, right here, you can see the date range, just like the sandbox detail report. You can choose the range of in between for which you want to see those credits, right? And then you can refresh this, use this refresh button to get the latest credits between this range. By default, the value is between 30 days. And about the sandbox configurations, yes, you can see them over here. The realm configuration that you are allowed total number of 50 sandboxes. The maximum time to live is 56, and the default TTL is 24. And then again, the scheduler that has been set for this realm, right? So you can see that all the sandboxes will be starting on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 8:15 a.m., right? And then they will be stopping on the same day at 20:30 or 8:30 p.m. So this is in 24 hours.
And this is
Sorry?
GMT. This is GMT time, Pakistan time, Canada time. Which time zone
It's
is
the
that?
UTC. It's UTC.
All right. So yeah, probably a good thing to add there, UTC. So everybody on the call, unfortunately, the scheduler at this time is only a scheduler for one single time zone, which is UTC.
Yes.
Of course, you can modify the start and time to match your time zone of preference, which is okay for me here in US, East Coast, but for Royal Cyber, for example, which has offices in Toronto and in Pakistan, they would like to have two different schedulers. So that's probably a feature that we need to have added to our realms, to our tools in the future. But just so everybody's aware, the scheduler unfortunately is only for one, using one time zone, so it's not flexible for multiple time zones.
So all the sandboxes that are included to this scheduler, they will be following this one scheduler, which is using the UTC time zone.
Right. So you guys in Pakistan, if you guys in Canada set up the schedule and they stop your sandboxes at 8 a.m. your time, you're always free to come up and start the sandbox as you need it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you see your sandbox stop, you can just come to work, have your coffee, start your sandbox, and you're ready to go again.
Yeah, you can just start it from here.
Yeah, which is another way to work with it. So the scheduler is still doing its thing, saving you credits. The point of the scheduler, everybody, is saving you credits, right? It's using 0.3, as I believe, 0.3 credits of the usage as opposed to 1 credit while it is stopped.
Yes, and I think this is the most underused feature of the sandboxes, right? So I have seen many clients that even they were not aware of this scheduler, right? So this tool helps you to use this feature more precisely. Okay, so moving on to the new sandbox window. So you can create a new sandbox at any time. If you have been assigned multiple realms, right? So you can select the realm ID from here, and then again the time to live. And then here you can select the profile of 10 GB, 30 GB, or 50 GB sandbox, which as Asif told you earlier, that has a different credit factor associated with them. And then you can add it to us the global scheduler that we just saw and create it, right? So then what if you want to change this scheduler over here? So that has been handled as well. You go to this realm window over here. You can select your realm to configure. Then the maximum time to live window, it is editable. And then the default value, for example, if you the maximum value for TTL and the default value can be set up over here. From here, you can select the weekdays multiple weekdays for both the starting and the stopping scheduler, right? And then you have the start time window over here. For example, I want to start at 7:45 a.m. and stop at 7:45 p.m., right? So I can do that and then just press this edit realm schedule button. So your schedule, the realm will be automatically updated, and these sandboxes that have been included into scheduler, they will be using this schedule. Rest of the ones that are not included in the schedule, they won't be using it for future.
So
So I
Usman,
guess,
if I was
yes,
using that scheduler, right? I saw your demo. I know you're just doing a demo, but just want to call out, right? You wouldn't do a scheduler and put the time to live for 2 hours. Like that wouldn't make a lot of sense. You will probably want a scheduler for your developers, guys like Usman, your architects that are using Sandboxes all the time.
yeah,
They don't want to have to restart, recreate a sandbox every 2 days, right? Because it takes
yeah,
time and you have to load SFRA and all that. So what you would do, the practice, I'm saying the best practice would be you set up a time to live of a month
yeah,
and you put the scheduler. So you have a selected number of sandboxes that are living for a long time, but they're going to sleep during certain times of the week. So you save credits. That's the best practice you should have there. I just wanted to
yeah.
emphasize that.
Yeah, and one more thing, that you can always use the -1 value over here if you want your sandbox, the sandbox that you are creating or updating, to have infinite time, to use it for infinite time, but that is not recommended, as you will see a little informational message over here that this is not the recommended approach, but in some cases you might need this, right? So you can create a sandbox for indefinite period as well using this same create new sandbox window.
And that would be something, let's say you have a sales team around the world that's doing demos on your sandbox, or you decided to go to your prospective customers and you have a site that let's say your Royal Cybers as a demo site that they're showing everybody built on SFRA, for example. They could have a sandbox with the Royal Cyber demo showing 24 hours a day for for months, because they're sharing it with customers. I mean, it's a cost of doing business if you want to have something like that, right? So,
Right,
Yes.
and I think Jorge, we anyway we have that added option available. So even somebody creates it by -1, I mean later if they want change their mind and change it to some specific dates, they can even do that as well.
right, put it on the schedule.
Right.
Yeah,
Things that are running infinitely should definitely be on the schedule to save
yeah.
credit.
Exactly. Yes. And then the last thing, you can see the inbound and outbound IPs over here. So these are really useful when you are creating the aliases in the host file, or if you want to whitelist your inbound or outbound IP addresses against third parties, right? So if the third parties want to whitelist your sandbox for some reason, you can always use these IP addresses from here instead of going to the Swagger and try to figure it out, right? So this information is really useful sometimes. So I guess that's it for now. Over to you, Asif.
All right. Thank you, Usman. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jorge. Okay, so we already have few questions. So Usman, I'll start these questions. I have these questions in front of me. So the first question is, are you planning to move the token format to JWT format anytime soon?
Not for now. I think this is
Okay.
the optional, but we can do that, but not for now.
Yeah, I mean, if any customer have some specific requirement, we can do that. Otherwise, I believe
Yeah,
UUID is still the safest way. Uh,
yeah. But we can do that
okay,
as well as a customer requirement. That is not a big deal.
right.
But as for all the users or the general version of this software, it will be going to be UUID for now.
Okay. Now there's another question which says, why don't you show the users that stopped, and deleted the sandbox?
Sorry.
So the question is, are we showing the user who's actually creating or deleting a sandbox? So
Okay.
creator
Yes,
is already here.
we are using over here, right? So if you see, because the thing is, there can be a case that there can be 200 or 300 deleted sandboxes, right? So it doesn't make sense when you are loading this dashboard to get all those sandboxes, right, and then show that information over here, right? So right now what we are doing is we are only showing the active number of sandboxes, right? The sandboxes that are only active at the moment, right? And most of the time you are concerned with those sandboxes that are running and taking credits, right? So we will be adding a checkbox over here if you also want to see the deleted sandboxes over here. But for now, we didn't have a use case that required that.
And adding to what Usman said, as part of the presentation, as I mentioned that, there are some premium features which you would see, which would be the part of this application, in the near future. So yes, this is also one of the premium features which we are planning to have, where we are going to give a role-based access as well, where maybe let's say a user A once login would not be able to see all the options which maybe a user B can see. So yeah, I mean there are things which are in the plan, and you would see that adding to this application soon. Okay, number third question is, when Sandbox created, then it is created with and without any limit, and then you can add starting time, taking about time to live. It means, I mean, I think what he's asking is that once you create it without any limit with -1, then later you can go and change the time. So is this feature
Yes,
is there?
yes.
So that
The
we
updating
already
the time.
explained.
I haven't. Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think we already mentioned that yes, you have free, room available to edit the sandbox time later, even if you create with -1 the start.
So
And
I would like to add over here, the only limitation that will be there is the things that Swagger UI API can do, right? This Sandbox
Right.
API, because this application is built on top of it. So any use case that is possible in this API, it will be possible over here as well.
I think
Right.
just to add, if you were to use the Swagger API or the SFCC CI tool, command line tool, when you create a sandbox and you don't give a time to live, the sandbox lives only for 1 day. That's the
Yeah,
default.
that's the
So,
default, right? So
right, which is not very helpful for most people. I don't know, debatable. But what this tool is giving you is making you think, how long do you need this sandbox in terms of hours, right? The guys gave it to you in terms of hours, so you just got to do the calculation in your head. How many hours do you really need it? Originally, I asked them to do it with a thing that said like a drop down that said 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, but those are just made up time. My idea of made up usability times. The Royal Cyber team decided that time to live in hours is probably best way. You just have to think instead of milliseconds, which is so hard to start calculating, do it in time to live by hours. Select the profile size here. By the way, yeah, these guys have the size. The median is 10 gigabytes, etc. And just remember, in terms of cost, I asked the team, the Royal Cyber team, if it would be nice to have here what the cost is of a medium sandbox versus an extra large sandbox in terms of credits. How much is
yes, I
costing?
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I missed that. We will be adding it over here, no problem.
Well, right on the where you said 10 gigabytes, you can add what is it, the cost to you right there. 10
Yeah,
gigabytes at 3 credits per, whatever, 3 credits,
per minute, right?
right? Something like that. The median is 1 credit per minute. The
Yeah,
large is
two
3 credits,
credits, two
2 credits,
credits,
and the
and
extra large is 3 credits
four
per
credit,
minute.
4 credits. It's four
Yeah.
credits.
Not per
Am I
minute.
right, Asif?
Yeah. So extra large is 4 credits per minute uptime, and
Maybe you can share
large
the
is,
screen, Asif,
yeah,
so that we can be clear about that.
so large is two credits per minute, and medium is 1 credit per minute uptime, and downtime remains same for all the for all the profiles. Okay,
All right. So the
guys,
next question.
we have more questions coming. So
All right.
another question is, are the inbound and outbound IPs assigned per sandbox? So
No, these are for the realm.
Okay, now we have another question. What the cost what the cost for using the on-demand sandbox management console is after the first free year? Okay, so the thing is, as we said that this is completely free for first year. It will also remain free for the features which we have just walked you through. There are some premium features, like for example, Hore, raised one point of managing sandboxes or scheduling sandboxes based on the different time zones. This is one of the premium features which we are trying to develop. This is not available right now, with out of the box Swagger API support. We are trying to customize this. So our users base role based access, these are some premium features which we are trying to develop on top of these application, the custom features. So we'll have a very minimal charges for those subscription, those who would subscribe to these premium features. We cannot call out any amount right now, but this would be very minimum amount. Okay, we need to know who performed the action and started or stopped sandboxes, because few ones were stopped somehow. Okay, so this is again, I think we already have addressed this question. We do have the creator here, but again there are certain role-based access which we are trying to add to this application, and you will see that happening in the near future. Another
Yes.
question is, yeah, Usman, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying the same, because we are planning to have a little more granular reporting, right? Just like you mentioned, and a little more granular control over who can start, stop, or things like that. So they will be available in near future.
Right. And another question is, does this tool generates the report about usage? So yes, at the individual sandbox level, Usman, if you click on any of the sandboxes,
Yeah.
once you click on any sandbox, you will go inside it and you will see the report corresponding to that sandbox at the detail level.
Yeah. So this is the view details button, and from here you can see the detailed usage history of that sandbox. It can show you the credits, the total number of credits that have been used in the past 30 days by default, or you can change this date range to get the usage of the sandbox between particular dates, right? Then you can see the disk storage space and usage over here as well. The profile that was 10 GB by default, and it used 461 MB of that. And then of course the usage history that you can check based on.
And guys, one more important thing which I would like to share in terms of the security. Right now, this application, we are not storing any data at our side or in any external database. We are not storing any credentials, any API keys at our side. It's just similar to the way Swagger, deals with the authentication. So that's also one of the, if there are any concerns from the customers or partner side in terms of sharing the data, so we are not storing any data, at the back end of this application. Guys, any further questions? Okay, so we'll be reaching out after this webinar. We'll be reaching out to all of you people, and we'll be sharing all the details in terms of the registration, how you can get yourself registered, how you can reach out to us to have this application to start using this application as soon as possible. And we'll look forward connecting with you over the emails or different other mediums. All right, guys, thank you so much for to be the part of this webinar throughout, and thank you so much, Hore, once again to giving us this opportunity and to show your presence. We really appreciate that, and we'll look forward working with Salesforce as well in the future for the similar kind of webinars. Thank you so much. Have a good day, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Royal Cyber. I appreciate your time on creating a tool and sharing it with the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.